Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Joslyn Young. I'm the CEO of the Surrey and White Rock Board of Trade, the region's leading voice for business and economic growth. And I want to thank all of you. Oh, thanks everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Sheffic. I planted Sheffic here to do that for me. I want to thank all of you for attending this very important conversation with Minister Mélanie Joly as she outlines federal priorities for 2025 and beyond. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are on the traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, specifically the Kwantlen, the Katzie, Coquitlam, Kakite, Semiahmoo, and Tsawwassen First Nations. As well, I acknowledge the Inuit and Métis Nations people who live and work on these territories. Everyone, please help me thank our sponsors. And we're going to do it the fun way. Some of you have been to our events before, know the fun way, but the minister may not have seen the fun way. It's the one clap method. When I say the name of the sponsor, you do one clap in unison. You're ready. I can see it. Okay. First, we have our co-presenting sponsors, Invest Vancouver. They are a service of Metro Vancouver. And we have Simon Fraser University. Oh, good. We have our supporting sponsor, Cancor. And our pillar partners, Aspira Retirement Living. Ooh, you're on to me. Cleveland Dome LLP, Focus College, Oceana Park, TBMS Warehousing. Oh, let's try it again. TPMS Warehousing. Okay. Western Community College. And Canada's #1 group benefits insurance plan, the Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan by SNF Group Benefits. Okay, very good. Thank you, sponsors. I'd also like to welcome some special guests that we have in the audience, and they can just give us a wave, and we can do a nice round of applause at the end. We have the Honourable Mélanie Joly, Canada's Minister of Industry, and of course you'll hear from her soon. We have Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Fisheries and MP for South Surrey White Rock, Ernie Klassen. Always looking dapper, too. We have MP for Surrey Newton, Suk Dhaliwal. MP for Fleetwood Port Cows, Guruk Saini. MP for New Westminster, Burnaby, Mallardville, Jake Sawatsky. We have City of Surrey Mayor, Her Worship Brenda Locke. City of White Rock Mayor, Her Worship Megan Knight. And City of Burnaby Mayor, His Worship Mike Hurley. And of course, we have City of Surrey Councillor Linda Annis. Thank you all for being here. Big round of applause. Our board of directors, also known as my bosses, are here. So remember, what's our agreement? You tell them I did a good job, right? Okay, we have our board chair, Mr. Roy Morgan of KSW Lawyers, our immediate past chair, Baljit Dhaliwal of TJ's Education and Safety Training. We have Scott Brown, Gandalf Holdings Limited, Harp Kayla of Harp Kayla Real Estate Group, Sasha Ramnaring, Remedios and Company, Mike Spees of Ashdown Capital, Roger Steers, RJC Engineering, and also our vice chair, and Louise Tremblay of Brella Community Services. A big round of applause. We also have a couple of our board governors, and those are individuals who previously served as chair of the board. We have Ginny Hasselfield and Steve Dooley. Thank you, guys. Of course, we also have some other special guests because you know, I like to stand up here forever and talk about special guests, but we do love you. We have our friends in the chamber community, Leanne Napolitano, co-vice president of the Cloverdale Chamber, and Monique Dreger and Claudia Cully from the Greater Vancouver Board of Trade. There you go. It's all friends in Surrey. The Surrey and White Rock Board of Trade is an independent nonprofit organization and serves as the concierge of connections for our business communities, delivering a diversified service portfolio of business development, support for international trade, government advocacy, and workforce development. We help businesses grow and succeed. And we connect people, we offer vital resources, and actively push for policies that ensure Surrey and White Rock continue to be leading cities to live, work, and invest in. We are proud to be the powerful, unifying voice of the region for businesses of all sizes and sectors, and we're very happy that you are members of this cool club, I like to call it. So, now to say a few words is Mayor Megan Knight from the City of White Rock.
Thank you, Joslyn. Good afternoon, everyone. I am the White Rock Mayor, Megan Knight, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to this important conversation that we're going to have today, hosted by the Surrey White Rock Board of Trade. I'm honored to be joined by dignitaries from all across all levels of government here today, and I look forward to having the Honourable Mélanie Joly share insights on the 2025 federal priorities. Today's discussion is timely and significant for communities across the peninsula, including my own White Rock. Earlier this week, I had the privilege to speak with Prime Minister Mark Carney and was pleased to hear that funding has been allotted in the budget to revitalize our iconic landmark, the White Rock Pier. This support reflects the success of my council's advocacy and working with our local MP, Ernie Klassen, so thank you, Ernie. Since I have become mayor, one of the top priorities has been to lead efforts for the redevelopment of our pier and secure funding needed to restore it. This budget invests in critical work to ensure the pier remains a cherished landmark and gathering place for generations to come. Public spaces like the pier connect us, fostering belonging and building resilience. This strengthens our city's fabric and supports local businesses by attracting visitors and creating opportunities for engagement. This funding shows why investing in local shared spaces matters. It's recreation, economic vitality, and community well-being. For White Rock, it's a clear example of how our federal priorities, when aligned with local needs, okay, you buy the first round, Suk, make a meaningful difference. We welcome continued collaboration with the federal government as we continue to shape a resilient and vibrant future for our White Rock. I look forward to hearing about how the federal priorities for 2025 will shape communities across Canada and its impact on our business and municipalities. So I thank you all for being here, and I thank the Surrey White Rock Board of Trade for putting this on today. Have a good conversation.
We are all fans of the White Rock Pier. So thank you, Mayor Knight. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Mayor Brenda Locke to the stage from the City of Surrey.
Well, thank you, Joslyn. And it is really a pleasure for me to be here, and I am equally so pleased to be able to meet and greet and join Minister Joly today and discuss what the latest budget means for us right here in Surrey. First of all, the White Rock Pier is cool, but I really do want to thank the minister and most especially MP Dollywall for supporting the project that matters very, very much to Surrey families, and that is the upgrades at the Newton Athletic Park. And this is no small achievement. I know because I've been at the park with Suk, and literally thousands and thousands and thousands of residents of Surrey and all throughout Metro Vancouver use that park. So the upgrades that we are going to be able to do there are just going to make a significant difference. And I want to really make sure that I thank Suk for all the hard work he did on that, because that is a major investment to our city. It will certainly create just a wonderful new center for the youth and the adults in Newton, and to all those major investments that we are getting in Surrey on housing and on infrastructure. You know, just yesterday I joined the Applet Properties to break ground on a brand new development that will be bringing hundreds of rental homes and dedicated healthcare space to Surrey right across from SMH. That is another great opportunity for Surrey that has been created, and we know that will be well utilized in our city of Surrey. So projects like all of those help build the vibrant and really important community amenities that we need in our city. They build more homes, we're building more amenities, and we're attracting talent. We're strengthening our workforce, and that will help us to expand all the local customer base that we can in our city. I'm also pleased that the Build Communities Strong Fund gives municipalities direct funding and decision-making power. And that may not sound like a big deal when you say it fast, but I can tell you, to cities, I am so very, very pleased and proud that our federal government directly recognizes municipalities and gives directly to cities. It makes a big, big difference. So I thank you. I thank you every single day, and I know that there is always pressure from provincial governments, and in particular the British Columbia government, to give money to the provinces, but government has been giving them directly to cities, and that is very helpful and very specifically important to all of us. It lets cities like Surrey, fast-growing cities like us, grow faster, actually act faster. And I don't know how much faster we're supposed to go, but we're pedaling as fast as we can in Surrey. But on infrastructure projects, supporting innovative projects that grow business and attract new investments to our city. So we thank you. We thank you to all of the MPs and to Minister for that. And please don't ever get convinced by the provinces. They're wrong. I also know that this was a very tough budget. In fact, every one of us that's in government right now is going to be faced with making really difficult choices, and Surrey is no exception. We will be doing likewise. So I applaud you for making some really tough decisions at a very significant time in our history. The city of Surrey, is committed to helping businesses succeed. We are doing everything we can to cut red tape. I am always happy to hear from businesses if you've got another, I'm going to say bright idea. That sometimes sounds facetious when you say it like that. But if you have some good innovative projects that you want us to look at, and certainly to the Surrey Board of Trade, I would be pleased to hear anything we can do to help us with cutting red tape, creating opportunities, making those changes that facilitate growth rather than regulate it. And that's our new theme in Surrey. It's to facilitate, not to regulate. And one of the ways that we will do this is through Innovation Boulevard 2.0. And that is a partnership with Simon Fraser University that gives businesses low-cost access to product development, testing and research support, and helping them take risks that come with growth. I just want to say something really quick from Surrey about risk. Risk is a very big deal. And so all of you that are in the business world that risk, we honor you. We respect what you're doing for our city every single day. You build the places and spaces that make our city special. So I applaud you and thank you for that. And I want to recognize and thank our business community for not just putting up capital, but your time and your energy and the effort that you do to make this happen, to make our city happen and to build our city. Surrey is growing fast, and our entrepreneurial spirit is driving us to become the economic engine of this region, this province, and Western Canada, and I truly believe that the future does live here. I think Diane had it right many, many years ago, but the future is in Surrey, and we see that every single day. With CN Rail, with Fraser Docks, with the region's 2 largest border crossings, Surrey is one of the most connected and competitive trade hubs in Canada. We offer businesses unmatched access to markets locally, nationally, and internationally. And I want to do a big shout out, if I could, to Invest Surrey. And Trevor is, put up your hand, Trevor, wherever you are. Trevor's the one to go to see if you have anything you want to think about, dream about, or especially spend money. Talk to Trevor. We'll take your money. We're good at that. But we really do want to see business grow, thrive, and continue in our city, whether it's on the housing front or on the industry front or anywhere. We're happy to help accommodate you. But today I just want to thank Minister Joly and our Surrey MPs. Thank you all for your continued support for our city and for working closely with Surrey, especially in these extraordinarily challenging times. Our strong partnership is valued by Surrey. We are building the future of this region, and Surrey's future will help create a city that benefits and a region that benefits everyone. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mayor Locke. Well said. It's now my pleasure to welcome Burnaby Mayor Mike Hurley, Chair of Metro Vancouver Regional District, representing our co-presenting sponsor, Invest Vancouver, to say a few words and also to introduce the minister formally.
Thank you, Joslyn, for the introduction, and to the Surrey and White Rock Board of Trade for bringing us together today. I'd like to begin in a good way by acknowledging with much gratitude and respect that Metro Vancouver region is located on the shared territories of 10 local First Nation communities. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today on behalf of Metro Vancouver and our Regional Economic Development Service, Invest Vancouver. As was mentioned, I am Mike Hurley, Chair of Metro Vancouver Regional District Board and Mayor of the City of Burnaby. Metro Vancouver is a federation of 21 municipalities, one treaty First Nation and one electoral area, working together to deliver services that are far more cost efficient and cost effective when managed collectively. Every day, we provide essential services like drinking water, solid waste management, wastewater treatment, air quality monitoring, non-market housing, regional planning, parks, and the economic development to over 3 million people. That's more than half of the population of BC. As our region grows, we need strong partnerships across all levels of government to invest in infrastructure that supports our economy and our quality of life. We recognize the fiscal pressures that government and businesses are facing today. However, everyone is counting on us to build a resilient foundation for our economy. Local governments can't do this alone. Federal partnership is essential to delivering the critical infrastructure that we all rely on. The Metro Vancouver region is the third largest economic hub of the country and is the beating heart of BC's economy, generating over 64% of the province's GDP. Invest Vancouver plays a critical role in attracting foreign investment in key sectors to create more well-paying and high-quality jobs for our residents. In 2022 alone, foreign multinational enterprises employed over 350,000 people and contributed more than $37 billion to BC's GDP. This investment not only strengthens the Canadian economy, but also creates global connections to diverse markets and networks for more integrated trade. The success of our regional economy is due in part to collaboration between public and private partnerships and all orders of government working together. Now more than ever, Invest Vancouver is intensifying our efforts to strengthen Canada's trade ecosystem and build a Metro Vancouver region as the strongest economy on the West Coast. We're ready to stand by the federal government in shaping Canada's path forward towards economic growth, innovation, and global competitiveness. With the release of Canada's 2025 federal budget and the federal government's commitment to invest $280 billion over the next 5 years, we can build a more competitive, resilient Canadian economy. It's now my pleasure to introduce someone at the heart of that vision, Please join me in welcoming the Honourable Mélanie Joly, Minister of Industry and Minister responsible for Canada.
Thank you.
Thank you all. It's really a pleasure to see all of you today. Last time I was here, I played softball. There was a big tournament. It was a beautiful success. And also we went on that, well, actually Paul and I, my chief of staff, which is from British Columbia, we went on that beautiful pier that you've been advocating a lot for, Ernie. And it's great also to be back in Surrey. I know that the team and I worked a lot on the merger, the fusion of, yes, these two boards of trade. Thank you also to Ginny. We made it happen. It was a bit of, you know, it was a bit long, but you needed the right minister to make it happen. Okay, so I'm happy to be obviously with Gerbix, with Suk, with Jake and Ernie, and thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Megan, for being with us. Joslyn, I know you've been working all night on super tough questions to ask me. I'll be ready. But I wanted to talk to you about what we're working on right now, and as your new Minister of Industry. And of course, we all know as business leaders, I used to be in business before, being in politics, that the strength of your country is completely linked on the strength of your economy. And so in that context, we want to make sure that we're building on that strength. We know that we're living in a world that is much more complicated, much more dangerous as well. I've seen it. I used to work much more on the diplomatic front of the trade tensions and working on the causes of them. And now I'm working much more on the economic front of it, which is basically the consequences of the trade tensions. And so we know that we can no longer count on necessarily stable allies or the respect of international rules. We know that in that context, we need to invest even more in us and invest more in our own country. And we need to continue to create economic growth. Why? Because it's our only way to make sure that we can maintain a very important social safety net, which is at the core of the promise of Canada. And that way, if we can continue to create economic growth, notwithstanding all the trade tensions, we know that we'll have something that is really, really important to safeguard, to protect, and it will be at the core of the fact that people will continue to trust each other, care for one another, which is so important to Canada. And so while there's so much uncertainty in the world, we know there are a lot of things we cannot control, but there are things we can control, and we'll focus on that. We'll make sure that we build one strong Canadian economy, and we also know that we have in this country, and trust me, at this point I've seen 75 different countries in the world, this country has everything that any country in the world would like to have. All right, indeed. Of course, the great people, the great talent, the natural resources, the energy, everything linked to tech, the education system and great universities, everything we need. And so, in that sense, since we know we can build Canada strong, we have this vision. Let's talk about the plan, how we will make that happen. It will be done through protect, create, and attract. So here's the plan. And of course, I'm a francophone, so let me just say that in French a second. So, on va faire en sorte de mettre l'accent sur le fait de protéger, de créer, et également d'attirer. And so, first pillar, we'll protect. Protect jobs, protect industries. Well, we will continue to deal with the relationship with the Americans. We will continue to be there for our people and the sectors that are being affected by unjustifiable tariffs. It's really, really important we be there. And we know which sectors are being really targeted. Of course, here, the lumber sector, which is so important to BC. And there's also the steel, the aluminum, and also the auto sector, which is elsewhere in the country. And so what do? Well, short term, we'll make sure that we protect also their market. Middle term, we'll make sure that we invest in their operations in order for them to be able to adapt and pivot. When I say adapt and pivot, I mean pivoting towards new markets or also creating new products. And also, longer term, what do we want to do? We want to make sure we're creating a strong domestic market. We need to be able to have much more of our own Canadians buying our own products. And so we'll do that through Build Canada Homes. Obviously, for the lumber sector, it's really important, but also through major projects and our investments in defense. And so I'll give you a couple of examples. On the steel sector, well, Algoma Steel, which is a really important plant in Ontario, which is the only one that is owned by Canadians of all the 4 steel plants in the country. Well, Algoma Steel, for the first time, got 2 months ago its order from Seaspan to buy steel from its plant. Before then, Seaspan in Vancouver was buying steel from elsewhere, actually from Asia. Didn't make sense. So our goal is to make sure that that is happening even more in the country. And that is saving jobs in Ontario, but it's a cooperation between BC and Ontario. And Irving, which is the other shipyard on the other side of the country in Halifax, did the same with Algoma. And so we want to make sure that we have more of that. Meanwhile, on the aluminum side, an important plant, which is an important company called Alouette, Q1 of this year was exporting 4% of its aluminum towards Europe. Q2, it was exporting 57% of its aluminum towards Europe. Before then, everything was going pretty much to the United States. So you see that it's possible to diversify. Now, on the lumber side, we know that things are tough. We've heard it. There's been trade tensions on the lumber front for a long time, but this crisis is a really big one. And it's affecting lots of people here and also across the country. So we're working with also the Premier. We had an important summit 2 weeks ago. I was in contact also with Canfor. I met with Susan Yurkovich yesterday. We're in solution mode. We're helping companies having access to much more support from the BDC. The Minister also of Natural Resources, Tim Hodgson, is working on that, obviously with the BC caucus, but we're on it, and we will be able to go through it. And so my message to those working in the sectors that are affected by the tariffs is we won't let you down. We will be there to fight for our workers, fight for our businesses, and fight for our industries. Donc, on va être là pour notre monde parce que c'est extrêmement important d'y être. So, I've talked to you about the first part of the plan, which is protect jobs, protect industries. Let's go to the second part of it, which is to create jobs and create careers. So, I think we can do that through 3 different ways. So, please follow me. The first way is through our new defense industrial strategy. And, you know, I know there's been a buzz. Brenda talked to me about it. It's an important vector of economic growth. So at this point, we will be investing 3.5% of our GDP in defense. Over the next 5 years, it's $80 billion over 5 years. So that's $16.5 billion per year in defense. That's a lot of money. The National Daycare program is $1 billion per year, 16 times that. Obviously, we're increasing the salaries of our strong men and women of the Canadian Armed Forces. We're recruiting more. We'll be investing a lot in the military bases. But fundamentally, we have a definition of defense that is also a bit broader than you may think. So obviously, it will be about protecting our sovereignty on land, in the air, on sea, in space, also in the cyber world. But it is also, just bear with me, it's that chicken I ate. It was pretty good, actually. I like the process. So it's also to deal with pandemics, so biodefense, and also deal with the impacts of climate change, wildfires. So you have to bear in mind that every time CAF are involved, it's actually linked to what defense means. And so that's how we will invest more in defense through that definition. And now, concretely speaking, where will the money go? How we will invest in our companies to create jobs across the country? Well, we will buy, we will build, and we will partner. So when I say we'll buy, well, there are certain things that we're not doing in the country. Submarines are an example. At this point, it's either a Korean company that will sell us 12 submarines, or a German company. It's either ANWA or TKMS. And this decision will be taken very soon, but the decision will be ultimately taken based on how many jobs are being created in Canada. Because every time we will be buying, we will be asking for industrial benefits. And of course, there will be impacts here in BC, because we want to make sure that not only the maintenance and repairs for these submarines is done here in the region, but at the same time also that there can be a supply chain of companies that are supporting also the facilities. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we will build. We know we can build, and we can build even more here in the country. So we have already the National Shipbuilding Strategy. I was at C-SPAN yesterday. At this point, C-SPAN has 5,000 employees here in BC. We know we can build the ships, the drones, the right AI, the water bombers, etc., that will support our strong men and women. So we also want to make sure that while C-SPAN is building for Canadian Armed Forces, at this point, they have such a big book of business, they know what's coming up, they can continue to invest and even export and sell to the world. And that will increase even more their footprint, increase even more the number of jobs that they will be hiring, that they will be having here in Vancouver. So that's our goal. The water bombers, we build them, it's the Avalon in Calgary. The satellites, it's MDA in Montreal. The AI, we have a fantastic company called Cohere in Toronto. And we want to invest even more in biodefense. I think we can do more with Apcelera here also in the region. So that's the idea. After, buying, we will also build, and partnering. Well, we can do more to partner. When we can build, sometimes we'll want to make sure that our companies are partnering. And sorry, what will happen is we will be able to have more partnerships. A good example right now is a surveillance plane that is built by Bombardier, but with a partnership with Saab, which is a Swedish company. And this plane, which is called the Global Eye, can be something that we can not only buy ourselves, but also sell to the world and create jobs also across the country. So while we will be buying and building all of these different equipment for the military, we'll invest in our researchers. We'll make sure also that there are plenty of engineers that get lots of contracts and great jobs through this. And we'll have great welders, construction workers, etc. So you can see that different people from all parts of the country will be benefiting from it. And of course, we'll work with the BDC, with the research centers, with the Canadian Space Agency to make sure that there's a real ecosystem for businesses to thrive under this defense industrial strategy. And we think that we can create thousands of jobs across the country. And I'll have more to say before the end of the year to unveil the details of the defense industrial strategy. So we're still talking about creating jobs. We've talked about the defense industrial strategy. Now, let's talk about major projects. Sometimes when I come to BC, and actually Joslyn and I were in an event yesterday, and I was being asked how much BC is getting from the federal government. How much BC is, is it getting its fair share? That's a question that we get. I'm so sorry. So the answer is, well, at this point, when you look at what the Prime Minister has announced across the country, BC is the province where there's the most major projects of all provinces. Here, there are 3 big projects that have been announced. LNG second phase, which is in Kitimat, an important copper mine, Red Chris also, and yesterday, a really big project, which is basically a Sealism LNG project, a hydro line also going to the Yukon, and a huge conservation area bigger than Greece. So in itself, we think that this will spur more than $10 billion of impact on the province itself. It's a major accomplishment for BC. And so we think that this will create thousands of jobs in engineering, construction, and it will build a lot of supply chains, and I really hope that you can benefit from it. And so we also think that while we're doing that, this will increase the demand in steel, and this will increase the demand also in aluminum across the country. And so this is really, really important, and this is clearly highlighted in the budget that was presented before Parliament, and that we hope that we'll get the support for. Yes, indeed. And finally, when thinking how we're creating jobs, well, I really think we need to continue to build national champions. When you look at the 90s, we had more bigger companies and international companies than we do now. Of course, we're very, very proud of the TELUS, of the tech resources, of the Lululemons and Aritzias that all come from here. And of course, I'm thinking of Maple Leaf Foods, Thomson Reuters, Bombardier, CAE. These are all important companies, major ones. But I think that we need to build them up even more. They should be bigger, and at the same time, we should make sure that we build more big companies. Because as the world is becoming more complicated, we need to make sure that ultimately we can have really big companies that can increase their influence in the world and make sure that they're creating jobs. And we think that this will also increase our soft power in the world. So I've talked to you about protecting jobs. I've talked to you about creating jobs. Now let's talk about attracting. So we want to make sure that we're attracting more talent, and also we're attracting investments. So good news, in the budget, we have a new talent attraction strategy. $1.7 billion to attract 1,000 new researchers to Canada. And as countries are taking their own decisions regarding research and science, we will make sure that we invest in research and we invest in science. And we think that that will create a lot of economic benefits also. And that while we've been dealing with brain drain over years, we have an opportunity more than ever to create brain gain. And that's what we'll focus on. And we know also that at the same time as there are cuts south of the border in research, and that there are certain aspects that are much more politicized, we think that we can double down on science and double down on bioscience, and definitely mRNA or different types of scientific research that can be actually taken here and much more developed. So, and finally, in terms of investments, and sorry guys, my throat is really a problem. I'm getting through the speech, so please bear with me. It's the first time it's happening, isn't it? Oh, yeah, thank you. We will attract investments. We think that when it comes to investments, since there's a lot of uncertainty around the world, we think that we can offer a lot of certainty, that we can make sure that we show that there's a lot of stability and less red tape, much more efficiency in our system. And so I know that Joslyn will ask me questions regarding that, and I'll be able to give you a couple of examples of how we're making sure that ultimately there is less red tape and that it's much more easy to do business. And, you know, CCIB said 2 months ago that when they were looking at all the jurisdictions in the world, actually Canada was one of the most stable and one of the most important and profitable, and Desjardins is also saying that it is the case. So my message to you is that we're open for business. We want to attract more foreign direct investments from Asia, from Europe, and from Gulf countries, and we want to make sure that through that we're creating many jobs. And in that sense, what will happen is the different major projects I was talking to you about is a good way also to attract foreign direct investments. And so, in conclusion, we think that we can build a very strong one Canadian economy through protecting, through also creating, and through attracting. And, you know, I've presented you my best ideas. Challenge us, challenge me. I want to hear from you. I want you to be able to bring your best ideas also to the table, because this is the moment in our history that we need to do so. Because these are abstract policies. We have a vision, we have a plan, and we have real investments that will have real impacts on real people, and we're putting our money where our mouth is. So let's do this together, and thank you so much for having me today. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Minister Joly. I think we should all just have a good cough, because this has happened to me before. And then she can cough in peace. Everybody, let's do it. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Get it out.
Anyone who has a lozenge, I would have one, please.
Actually, the staff, I have lozenges in my purse. You got it? It's in there in the plastic little baggie. Oh,
I'm so sorry.
okay. You have a seat.
Yeah.
I'll do some talking for a bit. You can relax. It has happened to me before. I don't know. Maybe you're allergic to something in there.
I don't know, but certainly not to South Surrey White Rock.
Okay, good. Oh, look.
Oh,
Joslyn's
thank you.
friend
Thank
over
you.
bringing
Thank
out the
you.
big guns.
Thank you, guys. Okay.
Okay, teamwork.
Yeah, teamwork.
We know all about it out here, don't we, gang?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you so much, Minister Joly, for being here.
I remember
Forever. That time. I could see you keeping it together, though. That took some control.
Thank you.
So we don't have time for a lot of questions, but we'll try to get through them as fast as we can. And, you know, we talked yesterday a little bit about SMEs.
Yep.
And how in Canada, while the big business is critical and we need our big businesses to continue to grow, most businesses in Canada are small to mid-size. And so we at the Board of Trade really think about how we can protect them and encourage them to continue growing.
Yep.
So with the current situation in the US, you and I talked yesterday about how some of the SMEs are thinking they're just going to wait it out, and really that strategy is not going to work. What kind of supports does the budget offer to help the SMEs diversify into new markets?
Yeah. It's an important question, because indeed, I think we have this opportunity to reduce our reliance towards the United States. I think it's really, really important that we do so, and if not now, when? So what we're putting on the table is a trade diversification strategy. So SMEs will have access to more funding through Can Export. So that's the first thing. Can Export is a program from the federal government to help businesses export. The other thing is, in the budget, there's a program that is linked to what we do at ISED, which is SME readiness. And I really hope, Joslyn, we can work together, because I think the Board of Trade here could work in offering then the funding to the SMEs here in the region. So we do that with a couple of Board of Trades, and we've done that particularly in Ontario. But I think BC would benefit from it. And I think also you could do that here and in Vancouver and elsewhere. So I really think that that would be good news.
I have a proposal for you.
Okay, no
ready.
problem. Let's talk about it. Because, you know, sometimes the federal government can be seen as very far from the reality of people. Our goal is to make sure that that distance doesn't exist anymore. So you have great MPs here that are advocating for, you know, the interests of the community, but fundamentally, how we can provide support on the ground, it would be helpful in working with you.
Okay, I'll follow up with my Trade Hub application, which
Yep.
has all the solutions. I talked about yesterday, being solution-oriented.
Yep.
That's great. You talked a little bit about red tape.
Yep.
And a few weeks ago, the Surrey and White Rock Board of Trade released our red tape survey. And it highlighted something unsurprising, that, you know, SMEs in particular consider red tape and regulatory compliance as major barriers
Yep.
to growth.
Yeah.
So how does Budget 2025 address this challenge?
Yeah. Okay. So listen, there's nothing more than I can't stand red tape. I just can't stand it. I used to be in business before being a politician, and it is frustrating when people are trying to find a good way to have access to a program which they heard about on television, or, you know, coming to a speech like I just did, and people could actually understand what I was saying without having to to deal with my throat. But so a couple of things. We will make sure that we're reducing red tape. In the budget, we're giving ourselves 60 days to make sure that we're reducing red tape. And actually, the work has started at my department also, and I've been working with my parliamentary secretary, Carlos Letao, who's the former Minister of Finance of Quebec, on it. Because I was seeing, for example, the Strategic Investment Fund, the paperwork that was needed to support the demand was actually 60 pages. So that didn't make sense. I said I want to reduce it by half. We're also going to use a lot of AI because we have a minister in charge of AI. We have also a procurement minister that is really keen on it. We think that that will also be very, very helpful. And of course, you know, for major projects, it's less SMEs, but it will have an impact on the supply chain. We have this, you know, major projects office, and the idea at the core of it is actually to reduce red tape and make sure that companies can go through the regulatory system in a faster way. So that's the idea.
Yeah. And we talked about that yesterday as well. The purpose of the Major Projects Office, not everybody fully understands what it's there to do, and it's not necessarily about fast tracking, it's about reducing the barriers.
Exactly.
So that we can get to where we need to be.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's really helpful. Speaking of procurement, we actually the Board of Trade brought a resolution forward to the Canadian Chamber of Commerce in October, and it doesn't sound sexy. It was about procurement strategy, but it's important because some of the things we've heard from our business members is, I'm trying to get a federal or a provincial contract, for example, and it's really difficult for me as a new business or a small business to get my foot in the door. And our policy called for enhancing transparency and fairness in federal procurement, and including tracking vendor performance, streamlining the processes. So I think this is where the Buy Canadian policy might be of assistance. Can you explain that to us?
Yeah, so we came up with an important Buy Canadian policy. It's the first time we're coming up. In the last 40 years, basically, because we know that the free trade rules across the world are changing, and we're dealing with way more protectionism around the world. So we can't be naive. We need to invest in ourselves. So the idea is to not only buy Canadian, so having the power of the federal government through procurement, handling contracts to companies. And I've heard from companies time and time again, we'd rather have a contract than subsidies, because obviously you can plan, invest in your company, it's better. Also, you can manage risk. So the idea is to have this Buy Canadian policy. It's starting this month. The implementation will be done by the spring of next year. And meanwhile, we invested $188 million to support SMEs to have access to the procurement system. So that way, people that will be across the country, and including also in Ottawa, when they get applications, they can go faster and also less red tape, but they can also discover potential vendors for the government easily, in a much more easier way. So my job will be to work with the procurement minister to make that happen. And also we will work to make sure in major projects and also in Build Canada Homes that we will support our lumber industry, we will support our steel industry, and we will support also our aluminum sector.
Amazing. So let's talk about trade a little bit.
Yep.
And, you know, I get excited about trade because I've worked at the railway and at the port,
Yep.
and now having that connection to the business community. Here in Surrey and White Rock, we have major port facility, railway, as the mayor said, the border. We're very ideally situated. And there's definitely a feeling that we want south of the Fraser solutions for a lot of things. We don't want to go across the bridge, right, guys? We want to stay here. We do everything here. Yes, thank you. So when we look at trade infrastructure and how BC's getting its fair share, how will SMEs, and I know I'm obsessed with SMEs, but you know, that's the job. How will SMEs in BC benefit from the improved supply chains and those reduced bottlenecks?
Well, so we're investing in trade corridors. So that concretely means more support for rail, more support for ports, and also airports. So we think that having, and in the budget, it's written addressing rail issues in Alberta and also the Port of Vancouver and the Port of Prince Rupert. We think that by addressing these bottlenecks and investing in infrastructure and working with CN or CP depending, then this will be helpful because we will have a very reliable transport system, which is key. We will be able also to seize the different opportunities across the country in faster way, but also across the world, because we will know that there won't be any issues at the port or all this logistics issues, and ultimately I think it will have a big impact on SMEs. I think that we took for granted for a long time our trade corridors. We saw what happened during the pandemic, that we needed to, we were over-reliant on certain supply chains. We decided to do more. That's when we invested more in companies such as Accelera or Moderna and, in Canada. But now, as we're facing this new challenge, which is basically trade tensions with our neighbor, we know we have to do more to connect east-west, and we need to do more to make sure that we're connecting with Asia, particularly here. And that's what we'll do.
Yeah, and there are a lot of opportunities here for all those other markets. People often don't think of it.
Yes, of course.
So what I've noticed about you is that you're very thoughtful in your approach to things, and you bring forward all of the experience you have from your previous ministries. And what would you say you're most excited about with your new budget and the plans that you have in place? What's really getting you jazzed?
Yeah. See, what I like is I've been in cabinet for 10 years, and the last 4 years was about geopolitics. And I saw the beginning of the war in Ukraine and the tensions rising, the war in the Middle East, the tensions with in the Indo-Pacific, and then the arrival of Trump again. And I was at Mar-a-Lago nearly a year ago with Dominic LeBlanc. And I really love working on geopolitics, but I wanted to come back home and be much more concrete. And, you know, Canada is a beautiful country. We're also middle power. We can't solve everything. But there are a lot of things, and I've said it in my speech, that we can control. And what I like about this new job is really being able to take the knowledge of, you know, and my passion for geopolitics, and also my passion for business, to bring it down concretely on the floor what it means. And that's what really is exciting for me. And understanding why we're making the investments in defense, but concretely, how will we be able to look in the eyes of the workers at C-SPAN that are anxious whether they'll continue to have a job, or their buddies or their, you know, their family will have a job, or their children will be able to have good jobs, and say, guys, it's good. It's all good. It's going to go well. We will be there to make sure that there will be more jobs coming. And I've seen anxiety around the world. I understand what's going on, particularly in the Western world and democracies. Europe, not going well. Tensions also in the US, obviously in Latin America as well. But I think that if we're able to make it real for people, that they know that they can continue to have good jobs and that their wages are going up, even though inflation is going up, but their wages are going high, are going faster, are increasing even more, that I think Canada can get through this really, really tough part of our history, and that we can be winners, and that we can seize opportunity, and that we can show the world that actually we're the best country on earth. So for me, it's very fascinating. So I'm
Well,
really, really happy to be back.
On that note, thank you so much. Canada can be and is the best country in the world. Let's go with that. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Really appreciate your
Thank you.
time. Those are the federal priorities, and Minister Joly, I think you're well positioned to make all of those things happen.
Thank you.
So it's now my pleasure, and we will take a seat.
Yep.
We're not done yet. We have to really give props to our next co-presenting sponsor. We have Dr. Dugan O'Neill, Vice President of Research and Innovation at Simon Fraser University, and here to give us a few words and tell us all the cool things you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Joslyn, and thank you to Minister Joly for coming and speaking to us today. And I want to give a special shout out. I like all of the pillars that we just heard about in the federal budget, but I'm going to give a special shout out and credit to Minister Joly, who I know has been a champion for having talent attraction in that budget. In the post-secondary sector, we've been seeing a unique historic opportunity for Canada. Many of the great minds of the world and great future entrepreneurs previously saw the United States as their preferred destination, and right now they're questioning that, and we have an opportunity to bring them here. So I think that part of the budget was visionary and very helpful to universities, so thank you. So as has been mentioned, I'm the Vice President, Research and Innovation at Simon Fraser University, and I'm going to share a few examples of ways that universities can contribute to supercharging the Canadian economy. And I'm going to keep all of my specific examples as Surrey examples because there are many. So in terms of catalyzing industry and innovation, this is something that we spent a lot of time doing and thinking about at Simon Fraser University. And in fact, this year, recently, we were named the #1 innovative university in Canada by the World University Rankings for Innovation for the 5th year in a row. Thank you. So we're 12th in the world. We're just behind Berkeley and Harvard, just ahead of Princeton and Cambridge. We're going to get Berkeley and Harvard next year. We're coming for you. So I built this reputation because of the partnerships we create, and we create those partnerships right here in community. Partnerships with government, with private industry, and with academic organizations to conduct and share research in a way that tangibly benefits society. Now we'll get into some of our Surrey examples. So our BC Centre for Agritech Innovation, BC CAI, has engaged with more than 600 partners to bridge the gap between industry, academia, and government to drive innovation in the agricultural sector. Working directly with industry and with farmers, BC CAI is strengthening food security for all Canadians, based right here on our Surrey campus. We're also launching companies and helping companies to launch. We have 2 Surrey-based SFU faculty members launched Human in Motion Robotics, and their amazing next-generation human exoskeleton technology is restoring mobility to those affected by spinal cord injury, stroke, and other issues. And their exoskeleton is recently Health Canada approved and has begun to be sold in rehabilitation centers across the country. 4 Surrey-based SFU students who came together first in our Chang Institute Technology Entrepreneurship Program launched Moment Energy, a company that repurposes electric vehicle batteries into commercial energy storage solutions. These storage solutions are for sale now and are being deployed throughout several sites in Western Canada. I've gotten almost to the end of my remarks and I have not said the words medical school yet, but I'm about to. So you can see by the banners that we've chosen to display today that we have other important initiatives happening in Surrey these days. And one of them is the launch of the first new medical school in Western Canada in more than 55 years. And that medical school is based right here in Surrey. And this includes building a beautiful new facility in Surrey's downtown in collaboration with the city and the province of British Columbia. Mayor Locke also mentioned that we've relaunched with the city of Surrey Innovation Boulevard 2.0, to unite industry, university, researchers, NGOs, and government to fast-track business growth here in the region. So these are just a few of the examples of how universities can contribute, how we can help support the business community, and how we can help Surrey grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. O'Neill. And once again, thank you to our sponsors of today's event, our co-presenting sponsors of Invest Vancouver and Simon Fraser University. A big round of applause for these guys. Our supporting sponsor, CanCor. There's Baha if you have any questions. And of course, our pillar partners, Aspira Retirement Living, Cleveland Doan LLP, Focus College, Oceana Park, TBMS Warehousing, Western Community College, and the Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan by SNF Group Benefits. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Minister Joly. Make it a great business day, everyone.